Hey guys, welcome to Super Dynamic Bros. Today we'll be reviewing Spider-Man Homecoming. Isaiah, what were your thoughts on Spider-Man Homecoming?
Oh, I absolutely love it. Definitely a 10 out of 10er. My personal favorite Spider-Man movie out of the 5.
I came in with kind of pretty much like low expectations, just because I feel like I've seen this kind of Spider-Man movie before, and it blew me out of the water. This definitely was probably one of the best Spider-Man movies.
Definitely.
And that's saying something because Spider-Man 2 was always, one of the best ones.
Yeah, but once you ever say, like, oh, what's your favorite superhero movies? It's always either The Dark Knight, Spider-Man 2.
X2.
Yeah, exactly.
It was always in the top tier of all the greatest superhero movies of all time.
And this kind of, for me, beats it by a hair. Some people will be like, oh, okay, no, it's a little under Spider-Man 2, but this one definitely has...
Yeah, it's literally, it's like neck and neck for me. But it's 10 times better than any of the Andrew Garfield ones. Those you can just pretty much forget about.
Spider-Man 3 is not even in the same game as this one.
No, this is up there with Spider-Man 1 and 2. This
definitely.
Is definitely, and I gotta say, it's one of the things about it. It's one of the funniest of the Marvel movies that come out in the MCU. I do have to say, and it's because of its lighthearted tone.
Exactly. And what I liked about this one too, because if you watch the original trilogy, Tobey Maguire was a good Peter Parker, but his Spider-Man wasn't really up to par with it. He wasn't as quirky or funny as what you would think a Spider-Man would be. Now Andrew Garfield, he was kind of a dummy Peter Parker.
No, he kind of played too much of like a cool guy Peter Parker.
But he wasn't as smart as all. He didn't create his own web suit. He stole it from Oscorp.
No, yeah.
He had to look up how to do electricity through YouTube.
Yeah, he played a good Spider-Man.
At least
his Spider-Man, he was quippy.
He was funny. He was a lot funnier than Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. But
Tobey Maguire, he didn't really do he did the one quip with Macho Randy Man Savage.
Exactly.
And that was it. But the Andrew Garfield one, he was a really good Spider-Man, but not a great Peter Parker. And he was just too cool. He felt like a dude that belonged in like a Twilight movie instead of in a Spider-Man movie.
He was a little too pretty. But one of the things they both had in common was they're just a little too old.
Way too old.
To play a high schooler, especially.
They were both in their 30s while they were playing high schoolers. Now, luckily now we have Tom Holland, he's 19 or 20, but he looks like he can play 15 or 16-year-old.
Which was the role he was playing, a 15-year-old in this movie. It's a sophomore. Which I love it now, because at least you could take your time now. You could grow with this character. You don't have to worry about him trying to graduate high school right now because he looks too old to be in high school again in the next movie.
Yeah, and the best part about it is that he played both a great Peter Parker. You can tell that he was a genius. He built, other than Tony Stark giving him his suit, which you saw that in Civil War. You can see that he pretty much built all of his other stuff too.
He had a suit beforehand. And it wasn't as functional as what you saw in the trailers or in Civil War, but it's still a suit. He had his own web shooters he made. You can still see perfectly, climb through wall.
Yeah, he pretty much did everything himself, and he was also you had the genius element there.
Exactly.
And even in some parts of the movie, he really tests out his true abilities and stuff. So you really see that it mixes intelligence and superpowers. Absolutely. And he was also quippy and funny. Like, he was a great Spider-Man. This is exactly what you would have wanted to see from a Spider-Man movie. And I also, not only did I love the lighthearted tone to it, because if you really kind of remember back in the other Spider-Man incarnations, a lot of them are kind of sad and downer.
Yeah, he's always either Tobey Maguire was crying or Andrew Garfield was
crying,
mopey in love.
Just all crying. So it's kind of refreshing to finally see a Spider-Man movie where, it's they tell you that this movie has a John Hughes feel to it,
and I felt it did.
Oh my God, I did.
Especially when he was in high school and you could feel the old high school movie vibes.
Yeah, this is the high school movie for the MCU. Exactly. This is that high school teen comedy for the MCU, done perfectly well, mixed in with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But for me, Tom Holland wasn't the only strong part about this movie.
Oh no, you can't have a great movie without a great villain.
And finally, other than Loki, Marvel has finally had their other great villain.
This one definitely top notch. Michael Keaton is just, you can't put words in his acting skills.
You don't hire Michael Keaton and make him a throwaway villain. You hire Michael Keaton for a reason, and they brought him to his fullest potential in this one. Michael Keaton, in some scenes, actually stole the show from Tom Holland.
Exactly. And a lot of times, too, he wasn't even in his costume. He was just him acting. And you could see it there, like, wow.
Yeah.
This is why they pay him the big bucks.
And you're finally following a villain where you see his motives. Yeah. We're not gonna get into what his motives are, but you see his reasoning, and at some points you do agree with him.
Where, yeah, it kind of makes sense too. In the beginning, they'll show you of how he came to be. That way, you're not lost and confused. Like, okay, why am I watching this? Who I don't understand. But definitely, when it comes to the end, it's like, okay, wow.
Yeah, they finally did a great villain, a great Spider-Man. This is definitely one of the funniest of the MCU, and I'm gonna rate this movie a 9.5. I think the really criticism I do have is that some of the other small tier villains in it weren't kind of fleshed out as I wanted to be. I think that without spoiling, they're trying to set something up in the future with them, but I kind of wish we kind of spent a little more time with the other villains.
Which I'm kind of the opposite. I'm kind of glad they didn't, because I didn't want it to be like another Amazing Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 3 where it just felt too much and not enough time for that one specific villain.
Yeah, but I'm really hoping that they don't bring in these iconic villains in and just to have them give them like a throwaway role, kind of like what they did with Rhino in Amazing Spider-Man 2. So I'm really like, if in a future Spider-Man movie, if these characters are more fleshed out and there is a bigger plan, then that's perfectly fine. But for right now, as I'm hoping it's not, like, oh, here's these great villains in the comics, let's give them like a small little role and then throw them away. So I'm hoping the case is that in the future they will build onto those villains.
Absolutely. And I would like to rate this movie like a 9.7, like close to 10, absolutely 10. Of course, there's two little cons of continuity. I don't want to spoil it in it. I'll do it in the other video we're shooting. But other than that, it was perfect plot, straight to the point, but
simple to the point.
To the point. But great characters, great storytelling, great background, and it fits perfectly into the MCU.
Yeah. This is exactly what we wanted when we first heard that Spider-Man was going to be joining the MCU. This is kind of what we all really dreamed about since
when I watched
first Iron Man.
When I watched it, I didn't feel like I'm watching another Sony movie. This is another Amazing Spider-Man movie.
This did not feel like that. This felt like a Marvel movie, and it was perfect for that. Well, alright guys, we will be giving you guys a spoiler-heavy review soon, so check back with us next time. Alright, take care.
Goodbye.